Hello and welcome to Silverstone for the penultimate event of the Britcar Endurance Championship. It's the second time we visited the home of British motorsport, but this time the drivers and teams will be facing the exciting challenge of the full Grand Prix circuit, all 3.6 miles of it. Coming up, highlights from the first of this weekend's two 90-minute races. But who's going to be starting from pole and who's got their work to do from further down the grid? Chris Hartley takes a look back at qualifying.
The GT4 category saw Zoe Wenham and her novice co-driver Steve Fressel setting the third fastest time in Class 3. Fresh from their first class victory of the season at Snetterton, Jensen and Alistair Lindsay pipped them to second place by less than 0.4 of a second. Kevin Clark and Anna Walewska were also class winners at Snetterton and are riding high in the overall championship. Their Intersport BMW comfortably the quickest Class 3 car of the session. The Newbridge Motorsport Porsche of Guillaume Gruchet had some issues in qualifying, but so far the Frenchman's had an excellent debut season in Britcar.
I think we've been very consistent. It's a pity that we didn't win any race, but I think consistency is as important as winning in endurance racing. So that's what we've been able to do. So I think overall this is pretty good so far.
Gruchet arrives at Silverstone third in the championship, with just one more event to follow after this weekend.
Yeah, one more race in Donington in November. So yes, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I'm especially looking forward to hopefully sort of holding on, third in the championship. It was very unexpected. I think at the start of the season, if somebody told me by this stage you'd be third in the championship, I've probably sort of taken that, saying yes, absolutely, I'll take that.
Making its Britcar debut this weekend was the Ferrari 430 run by Track Focused. Newcomer Peter Bedemar driving alongside the experienced Charlie Hollings, second quickest in Class 2. But it was another Ferrari that dominated the class, the championship-leading 458 of FF Corse, driven solo this weekend by three-time Britcar champion Calum Lockie, the Scotsman fifth fastest overall. It's been a frustrating year so far for Mike Millard, his season hampered by technical gremlins, and his Class 1 rapier certainly not on full song in qualifying, as he could only manage 6th place. Qualifying fourth overall, the Stark Racing Ginetta G55 of Nathan Freak, who took the car to victory at Snetterton, and his co-driver Ian Stinton. Javier Morcillo and Manuel Cintrano lie second in the championship. The Nilgana Motorsport Mosler has started from pole more times than any other car this season, but on this occasion it had to settle for third on the grid. Just ahead, another Mosler driven by Martin Short, his first Britcar outing of the season, but certainly not his first time with the championship.
We've always been fond supporters of Britcar, but we've never really ever been in a position to do a full season. So, being at Silverstone, I'm a member of the BRDC here, and it's a great circuit to come back to. It is a great challenge, and especially now with the additions. It's technical, you need a degree of bravery, through Beckett's, and it's a good lap. It's certainly my favourite track in the UK.
Another car making its season debut was the Wolf CN Sports prototype, and what a debut it was. James Fletcher and Pete Story taking the car to pole position.
It's a tricky car on a sort of drying track when you get to sort of the just about slicks, because it's hard to get heat in the tyres, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, fingers crossed, we'll see how we get on. Yeah, I love Silverstone. It's a good circuit. It's tricky in this car because it's a car that's quite slow on the straights but very quick in the corners, so you need to get every corner right to actually get the lap time out of it. So yeah, we'll see.
So here's how the front of the grid shapes up. The Wolf of Fletcher and Story on pole by 1.7 seconds, with the Mosler of Martin Short alongside. On row 2, the Mosler of Morcillo and Cintrano, and the Ginetta of Freak and Stinton. Riding on board with Mike Millard then from the third row of the grid. The safety car has peeled in, ready for the rolling start. It's the 11th race of the Britcar Endurance Championship, The first of two 90-minute races at Silverstone this weekend. And the rolling start gets underway. It looked like a decent getaway from Mike Millard, who's going to get into the first corner, though, at Copse. It's just about going to be the Wolf from pole position, sweeping across the front of Martin Short. Pole position on the outside for turn one here. There is Calum Lockie in the Ferrari, and is still absolutely wheel-to-wheel with Mike Millard here on the exit to Copse corner, down through Maggots and into Beckett's. Through the S's complex they will go. The inside line belongs to the Ferrari, and Calum Lockie just about hangs on to fifth place. Mike Millard having a big go at him, but Millard there in sixth place still. So through the S's they go for the first time. Leading the way is James Fletcher in the Wolf. In second place, where he started, Martin Short in the Mosler. And then we've got running third now, Nathan Freak. So Nathan in the Ginetta moving ahead of Javier Morcillo, who's dropped down to fourth. Fifth is Calum Lockie, you're on board with sixth. And this is Anna Walewska a bit further down the order in the Class 3 BMW, being passed by the Porsche of Guillaume Gruchet, who started at the back of the field. So on board with the Spaniard, Javier Morcillo, one of the championship front runners here as we go into the last few races of the season, but he's lost a place off the start. Normally Manuel Zamtrano is the driver who goes first, but Javier opting to go first this time, closing up under braking on the way into Vale and then through Club Corner, getting very close to the tail of the Ginetta of Nathan Freak then, the ex-Formula Ford champion. So here is the leader coming towards Abbey on this first lap. The track's a little bit damp, but looking like it's going to dry out as the race goes on. So a very good start for James Fletcher then, who spent last year racing the BRDC Formula 4 Championship and was a race winner. Got a couple of second place finishes as well, concentrating this year on GT racing. There is the number 36 car of Stephen Fressel. 29 is driven by Alistair Lindsay. The car new to them after they crashed the Chevron at Alton Park, and Alistair still on crutches after that incident, but racing here at Silverstone. That was the cockpit view of Nathan Freak in the Ginetta, running well in third place in the number 12 car. He drove solo at Snetterton, but he's got his teammate alongside him for this round. A little twitch there from the Ferrari of Calum Lockie, the championship leader there in fifth place, as he comes out through Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight. It's a Class 2 Ferrari. The Mike Millard car is a Class 1 car. It should be quicker in a straight line, theoretically. On board then with the race leader, James Fletcher, coming through Woodcote Corner at the end of lap number one. Nobody ahead, leading the way in his first race in the Britcar Championship this year. Having an excellent qualifying session, nearly 2 seconds quicker than anybody. There is Martin Short, who won the first ever Britcar 24-hour race, and there's a challenge for third, and it looked like Mosler was going to go through. So Javier Morcillo, I think, getting the inside line through Copse Corner, looking like he was going to get third place, and here comes Mike Millard now onto the tail of the Ferrari of Calum Lockie. We go on board with him now, the ex-FIA GT racer, going through Maggots and down into the Beckett's S's, and a switch there from the Ferrari, and Calum Lockie making a slight mistake there on the curbs. He runs off the circuit down the escape road, he rejoins back ahead in fifth place, but now he's running wide. In fact, I think he's letting Mike Millard through so that he doesn't incur the wrath of the officials. Back on board with Calum Lockie then. Here's a replay. Yeah, just crossed it up under braking into the S's. Lots of escape roads here and tarmac, so going off the road wasn't really a problem. Then you can see him looking in the mirrors and hovering and waiting for Millard to come through, so giving him the place to make sure that he wasn't adjudged to have cut the corner there and gained an advantage, which he certainly didn't. So there is Nathan Freak then. And indeed, he is down to fourth place. So Javier Morcillo had that third place back, I think, on the run to Copse Corner. There is Mike Millard. And we're going to get a replay of how he did it. So Javier Morcillo, this is coming out through Luffield and Woodcote onto the National Pit Straight and down towards Copse Corner. He gets a great run out of Luffield through Woodcote Corner, draws alongside, and he had the inside line, and he got the position done on the way into Copse. So there is our race leader, James Fletcher in the Wolf, about 4 seconds clear now of Martin Short. Martin, who began his racing career in the late 1980s, whereas this man is just 19 years of age. So the Wolf in control of the race here at Silverstone as we head for a break. Welcome back to Silverstone, on board with Anna Walewska as the race leader comes by. So starting to get through the traffic now. Anna currently running third in Class 3. That's James Fletcher, though, who leads the race, pulling away now from the Mosler of Martin Short. There he is in the number 22 car. Both of these drivers making their season debut. And there is the car running in third place, another of the Moslers, the more familiar colour scheme, though, of the Neil Garner Motorsport run car. Javier Morcillo and Manuel Zamtrano are the two drivers. There have been race winners and multiple pole position setters this year, and they're currently lying second in the championship. Second, because they haven't quite had the consistency of the points leader, Calum Lockie. Getting a bit crossed up there, though, is Javier Mortheo, and just running off the road there. That's on the exit to Chapel Curve, going onto the Hanger Straight. So he loses a few seconds as he gathers it back up, but just getting a bit crossed up here. Not quite on the pace of the League Two at the moment is Javier. Here is the Ferrari of Charlie Hollings. He shares that car with Peter Bedemar, a novice driver, but he's heading for the pits, and this is a long way ahead of the mandatory pit stop, so a problem for the car, run by Track Focus, developing that car. We'll see what they do with it next season. Now going through the traffic, this is Mike Millard, and Mike has caught up to Nathan Freak in the Ginetta. So this is the battle for fourth place, fourth and fifth, and Millard has been consistently quicker over the last few laps of the race. They get past the Ginetta of Alistair Lindsay, coming out through Stoke Corner and having a look on the way into Vale here. Mike Millard's got the run. They're both Class 1 cars, and he's got the line, and that's a good move from Mike Millard, whose only race win of the season came here right at the very beginning of the season at Silverstone. Into the pit stops then, and this is a change of driver for Jensen Motorsport. There is Ian Stinson, who's going to get into the number 12 Ginetta, currently driven by Nathan Freak. Zoe Wenham is getting ready for her first stint in the car, and there is the number 29 Ginetta, which currently runs second in Class 3 then, behind Steve Fressel. The novice driver is doing an excellent job. The Ferrari's gone back out, although it's not particularly quick at the moment. There is the number 43 Intersport BMW. Anna Walewska still on board, the car running third in Class 3. Kevin Clark, who's a very quick driver, to get on board for the second stint. So there's still a battle to be had here in Class 3. Very, very good job, though, by Steve Fressel, handing the car over to Zoe Wenham in the class lead. Got a lap clear of this Ginetta, which goes out now and should rejoin second in class. So Zoe Wenham, very quick young driver, going out into that car now for the second half of the race. Mike Millard is a solo driver, so he has to get out of the car while it's refueled. He's being strapped back in. It's a minimum pit stop of 90 seconds from the time they come into the pits to the time they cross the line to go out of the pits. On board with Anna Walewska then. He'll be coming in fairly shortly to hand over to Kevin Clark. Going up through the gears here, and this is onto the international pitch straight on the run down into Abbey Corner. Dropping down a gear, and nice and smoothly does it for Anna. Back this season in Britcar after a few years away. Coming up to put a lap on that Ferrari. Closing up now, and down the inside. Struggling to get down through the gears for some reason, and almost losing the back end of the BMW there, and that was all really because of a problem with the downshift. So all not completely well in that car. I think Anna having to drive around a problem, which may be gearbox related, maybe to do with the electronics of the car. Meanwhile, in the pits, Rachel has caught up with our Class 3 leader.
It's not a track time, but what I like is the team spirit we have. I've got a great partner in Zoe Wenham. She's a great driver. She helps me. She's coaching me at the same time. Century Motorsport, Nathan Freck, another guy who's working with me to get me faster, and all the mechanics.
And what's it like racing at Silverstone on the Grand Prix circuit?
Epic. Today was great. It was the best race I've ever done, and the track was good, the car was good. It was just great fun, really good fun.
And the good news is that Zoe Wenham's going even quicker now and has just set the fastest time in Class 3. So looking good for that pair in the Ginetta for a class victory here at Silverstone. Towards the head of the field, though, in comes the Mosler. So Javier Mortheo about to get out. Manuel Centrano will get in once the car has been refueled. There's already been a driver change for Intersport, and it's now Kevin Clark in the BMW, still running third in class. But this car has been struggling a little bit, and it looks a bit slow going through Vale and into Club Corner. And it's lost drive, I think. The engine's still running, but the car grinding to a halt. Had one or two glitches when Anna was on board, but now it looks like it's completely stopped over on the far side of the circuit. There's Pete Story ready to get into the leading car. And there's Javier Mortheo, helmet off now, having done his stint in the Mosler. Logano Motorsport replacing some of the tyres for the second stint, as in comes the race-leading car, James Fletcher, having a super stint in the Wolf. Well, the BMW has limped to a halt alongside the international pitch straight. Meanwhile, we can now hear from our race leader.
It's good, really enjoying it. I like the atmosphere. It's quite relaxed as well, which is a bit different to what I'm used to, which is a nice change. But no, really enjoying it, and hopefully we'll take this race home for a win.
And Silverstone as a circuit and the Grand Prix circuit, do you find it challenging? Do you enjoy it?
No, I really enjoy the circuit. I actually spend most of my time testing here. My GT team's actually based just down the road from Silverstone, so anytime we test, it's always at Silverstone, so can't get enough of the place.
Well, Intersport have got the BMW off the track now, and they're going to try and repair the car, because the two drivers, of course, are fairly high up in the championship, running in the top 4 in the overall point standing, so they've got to try and get the car to the finish. There's steam coming out of the car. Something has snapped, they say, so something throttle related, I think, but obviously I think they can get the car back out again. And here's another Class 3 car, and this one also cruising to a halt potentially. That's the Jensen Motorsport Ginetta. Jensen Learners on board at the moment. It's been lapped by the Class 3 leader, Zoe Wenham. So Wenham and Fressel certainly now on course for that class victory. There is Martin Short, who at the moment leads the race, but only because he hasn't yet made his pit stop. This driver certainly has, though, Mike Millard, and he's absolutely flying after Manuel Cintrano in the Mosler. This potentially is going to be for 3rd place in the race and a podium finish, first podium for a while for the Rapier crew. Roxy Jeweller's team, who run Mike Millard in this car, he's much quicker than Manuel Cintrano, and it seems to be a matter of time as he comes out of Aintree now onto the Wellington Straight, draws alongside, and he's determined to make his move at the first attempt on the way into Brooklands Corner. Through he goes, under braking, slows the car down, and he's through into position. And once the pit stops sort themselves out, that, I reckon, is going to be up to 3rd place now for Mike Millard. Firing the Intersport BMW back up. Good work by the Intersport team, and Kevin Clark should be able to rejoin the race now. Trouble is, he's got to find his way back onto the track, having pulled off into the infield. So pit stop now for the car that had picked up the lead of the race, Martin Short. Will he come back out in the lead, or will he be in second? Meanwhile, the Intersport BMW is going for a little drive around Silverstone, just trying to find his way back out into the race. Calum Lockie in the background bringing the Ferrari in. That's still leading Class 2. Right, he's found his way back to the national paddock. Now he's got to try and find his way through a garage or through the pit lane and back onto the track. They're running out of petrol at this rate. We'll need another pit stop. No problems for Martin Short. He goes back out. Let's see where he rejoins. First or second it should be. Right, through the garages. Hasn't even got a sat-nav, so he's done a pretty good job of finding his way through. It's a big old place, Silverstone. And Kevin Clark at last is about to head back out on circuit. On the other end of the stick, though, coming into the pits, is the Ginetta. So Jensen Lund's brought this one to a halt. Back out then goes the BMW to at least try and pick up some points here at Silverstone in Class 3.
Alistair, can you just tell us what's happened to the car?
Hose burst, so overheating. So the engine's overheated. Hopefully it's not cooked, but it's way too hot now to race. So we'll put it in, let it cool down, have a look and see if there's any damage.
You're on crutches, yet you are still racing.
Yes.
And you are mad.
Possibly. Yeah.
Everything's all right.
Yeah, just torn ligaments. So waiting for an operation. So as soon as I can get that done, but yeah, it's all got big heavy rubber strapping around there, so I can push the clutch in. But got to keep racing, haven't you?
Yeah.
Can't let the team down.
So there is Pete Story in the Wolf, and he still leads, but not by very much. He's being reeled in by Martin Short in the Mosler. So the gap is down to just about 2.5 seconds now. There you can see the gap between them, almost nothing. It was just about 22 seconds before the pit stop. So better pit stop for Martin Short. He stayed out longer, and he's quicker than Pete Story at the moment. You're on board with Mike Millard. Mike now about to lap Calum Lockie. Calum still in 6th place overall, still leading Class 2. And Calum has taken that Ferrari to an overall race victory. He's normally mixing it in the top 3 or 4, but this is the very quickest circuit really on the calendar, and the Ferrari hasn't got the legs in the straight line as some of the Class 1 cars. Calum, of course, just trying to bring it home for points as well for the championship. The Ferrari is ground to a halt. That's the track-focused Ferrari, so it's had 1 or 2 teething problems, and that looks like it's going no further in the race. So Manuel Cintrano down to 4th place now. He's got quite a big gap back to 5th, but losing track with the top 3 now. And it doesn't look like they're going to win this one. They could do with picking up some wins here at Neil Garner Motorsport if they're to really challenge Calum Lockie in the remaining races of the season. So the crowd watching on as we go into the final part of the race. Ian Stinton now on board the Ginetta, the start racing car, running in 5th place. There's Guillaume Gruchet, who is still 2nd in Class 2, but the car has some issues, and we're hearing that it's got some power steering issues, so it's going to be tough for the Frenchman there. The recovery service is out to pick up that Ferrari, but it won't bring out the safety car. And it looks like we've had that change of lead, have we? Yep, the Mosler's in front now, so it seemed inevitable, and The pace showed us that Martin was going to get through, and he's done it pretty quickly. Pete Story, though, is hanging onto the tail of the Mosler. Pete, who looks like he's lost some of the bodywork at the front of that Wolf. So Century Motorsport have the Class 3 Ginetta very much in command here. Zoe Wenham doing an excellent job. She's again set the fastest lap of Class 3. Steve Fressel having done a very good first stint in that car. Calum Lockie looking like he's going to pick up more championship points here. He won't be able to pick up the maximum points because there aren't too many starters in Class 2. And what he can do is try and win the race, and the rest will sort itself out. So there is our race leader, Martin Short, now around about 7 seconds clear of Pete Story. Pete, who won the Class 2 title in Britcar back in 2012, doing a good job though in the Wolf. Almost home and dry then, just a couple of corners to go for Martin Short to take the Royal Centre Racing Mosler to victory here at Silverstone. Just coming up to some slower cars and coming into left field for the final time. The car is slowing down. He's almost inside of the checkered flag. He's got about 150 metres to go. He's just been overtaken by the Wolf. So Pete Story is going to win the race out of nowhere, and the car is just about going to make it to the checkered flag, I think. So it's victory for James Fletcher and Pete Story. There were 7 seconds back with 1 corner to go, and they've ended up winning the race. Well, that is absolutely gutting for Martin Short and the team. At least he's going to crawl over the finish line. He will get second place, but after a 90-minute race, it looked like they got that one in the bag. So drama here right at the end of the race. The car is going to go no further, but it will finish in second place. Turns out it was a cam chain that failed on the engine. There was also trouble for Mike Millard, who had an extra pit stop and dropped from 3rd to 5th. So as for the championship, it puts Calum, Lockie and David Mason in control with another class victory ahead of Mortheo and Thintrano. As for Class 3, the victory in that one goes to Zoe Wenham and Steve Fressel.
We had it really easy in the end. Steve pulled out about a 1 minute time to second place, and I know the 3rd place car had some issues, so we just got it to the end and had a fairly easy stint.
6th place overall for Calum Lockie, but more importantly, another Class 2 win.
It was quite a tricky race for us. We had quite a lot of problems with grip. We didn't test yesterday, which in retrospect possibly was a mistake, but to be honest, if we were 2 or 3 seconds a lap quicker, I don't think it would have changed the result, so I don't think it matters.
And a somewhat unexpected overall race victory for James Fletcher and Pete Story in the Wolf.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it was a bit of a lucky win in the sense that we wouldn't have won it without Martin running out of fuel in the last lap. So I was a bit confused as I came by. I wasn't sure whether we'd taken the flag or not, but it was a good race, and I have to say I was enjoying it towards the end. I was really sort of getting into it, so looking forward to the next race now.
Sadly, that's all we've got time for, but we'll bring you all the race highlights from race 2 in our next show. Until then, thanks for watching the Britcar Endurance Championship.